SpaceX repositioned all those satellites so they can hit it.
All right, well, let's call this meeting to order. I'm here, Councilmember Evans is here, Councilmember Watson is here. Reports and presentations, personnel update. Debbie.
Yeah, so we're getting a lot of our positions filled, as you guys probably can see off the report. We are going to be doing oral boards for our upcoming vacancy. March 31st, we are going to be doing lateral and exceptional interviews. And our newest recruitment is for the PC network specialist. I've met him. Jason, he's leaving next month.
Yep.
He's leaving?
Yes. Going to Romania.
Not on a trip, just forever.
That's a commute.
Probably forever.
Okay.
Can he remote in?
He's found a lady.
Oh, nice.
And then, let's see, we just opened and filled with our code enforcement officer, our building inspector, and our continuing with our seasonal position, sports officials, and our before and after programs. We've made conditional offers on the emergency management coordinator. They did interviews yesterday. Construction inspector, a tentative start date of April 1st. Meter reader and our public works maintenance worker. We did interviews last Thursday, working on that one. And then, let's see, our police officer, Michael Gold, started March 16th. Swearing in oath of office today. And then also our construction inspector will be starting March.
And pretty well filled up.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
what am I going to do now, right? Well, what's Shawnee going to do?
Yeah, sure good to meet her today, though.
Yeah, she's been a really good addition.
That way.
Well, thank you. Move on to business and action items. Resolution 3025, naming the official city newspaper for the next 3 years.
What choices?
We have multiple options, right?
Yes, a lot. So put it out to bid, had one bid, it was Courier Herald again. They have raised their rates, but they only raised it $9.85 per column and $34 per column, but that is locked in for 3 years.
That $900 or $9?
$9.
$9.
Can we swing that, Sherry?
You locked in for 3 years, you said?
Yep, I locked them in for 3 years.
Excellent, good job.
What all goes into that as far as what do we do? What do we use it for?
RFQs?
For RFQs, we use public hearings, we use ordinances, we have to stuff. We stop doing all the other.
Rather give the money to Ray than the TNT.
Amen.
Yeah, I know your feelings about them now. Good job there.
All right.
You going to consent in that one?
Yeah, I'm good with that. You guys good with that?
Yeah.
Full council discussion.
Right. Resolution 3033, acceptance of Attorney General grant to purchase refrigeration unit.
Yes, thank you. Attorney General's office is trying to clear out the backlog of sexual assault kits that haven't been tested. Before they're tested, they have to be kept refrigerated. Our refrigerator is capacity. We also have to now start storing blood evidence once the DUIs, once they get tested. Now have to store that until the case is adjudicated in case the attorneys want to test that themselves. So we're at, space is at a premium, so we did receive a grant from the State Attorney General's office up to $3,500, and the council generously gave us some ARPA money, so we would like to purchase two. This one is just for the sexual assault grant where we received that, so it would be just authorizing me to say we'll take your cash, and that would get us one refrigerator, and then we'll get the other one through ARPA, and we should should be good to go.
The only issue I have on this is not that, but on the agenda bill itself, it has Swatman.
It's an old form or something. So
Yeah,
I haven't seen this one for a long time.
It got all switched before it went to, got ready for a council.
We could start calling you Councilmember Swatman if you like.
I don't have the hair to pull that off.
That's good though? Or
Yeah,
what's
oh,
the-
yeah, just consent.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
okay.
apologize for the short turnaround. 14th that you had.
Oh.
Where do
this
you
on
have this
tonight's?
at now?
I don't
We have a smaller
recall. Is this on
refrigerator, but it's
tonight's?
reaching. There's a refrigerator down there.
We won't
A
have,
bigger
we
one.
won't have
and
another council
upgrade
meeting.
More commercial. Right now, I think we have a
Right.
residential fridge down there.
Yes,
So
it
this
is.
is more commercial. A little bit.
Secure that way.
Cool.
Yeah. And then with the also with the ARPA money to get the generator, right now there's nothing. Or goes out for an extended period. We could lose.
Wow.
So, yeah, and right now what we would do is we'd grab a portable generator. Run along extension. Get that second refrigerator and upgrade the wiring so they could wire some.
Desperately needed.
What's the time frame on the generator?
I don't know. That would be probably a Ryan
Okay.
question, but yeah, I'd like. Hard way. That's a very important one.
Yeah, especially with summer coming here. Very dry.
Approval of meeting notes.
They're good to
No
go.
problems?
No decimals or exclamation marks or anything else.
Wow.
Commas.
Great job.
Wait, did we do anything? Oh, I guess we'll wait till the next one. The open meeting. I was just gonna ask about the Lions Club for Kids booth.
Oh, I'm trying to recall what,
That got put on for April 12th.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
all right, open discussion, senior center lunch delivery drivers part-time. Huck, you
Yes.
get that one.
Did everyone receive the updated memo? Was sent out Monday. Okay.
Yes.
So, in talking with Sue, I asked her to kind of write up this memo for a discussion item right now only. Over the last couple of years, obviously with COVID, the senior center has been closed. So they have had two ways of serving meals. One was everyone forms a line and people pick up, and the other one, which was new, was actually delivering meals to people who can't get out, or because whether it's they have no transportation or due to their own medical, they didn't feel comfortable driving through. When the senior center was closed, we had a couple of volunteers as well as Phil, and it was pretty much just Phil as staff delivering these meals. And that worked out very well. As you can see, over the last 2 years, they delivered 19,000 meals. Now that we're opened back up, we're encouraging people to come back in, whether they want to come in and just take out or dine in the senior center. But we still see a very strong need for the delivery aspect of this. Unfortunately, one of our volunteers has resigned. She can't do it anymore. Phil is now picking up seniors to take to the senior center, so his time is busy picking up and dropping off and can't help with the deliveries. And so we're kind of down to one volunteer who's trying to help out as much as he can, but we're just running into an issue of we can't get volunteers to come and do this. It is 3 hours a day in the middle of the day because it's lunch, and they're driving about 35 miles a day delivering meals. In talking with Sue, we're looking at how can we provide this service And it really is going to kind of boil down to we need help. We need part-time help. We need to be able to offer something to get some people in to drive these meals around. And I've talked to Sue about how we can kind of reduce that delivery. She says there are some people that probably don't need it delivered but are using it because we're offering it. And she's looking through that and figuring out, how to reduce the number of deliveries but still offer that service to people who truly need it. And we have a lot of people that do need that service. So what we're looking at is requesting, hopefully sooner rather than later, but I wanted to do this as a discussion item first, creating 2 part-time positions that are 15 hours a week, so 3 hours a day, pay them basically minimum wage. We have 1 vehicle. We most likely will have 2 city vehicles, so they will be driving city vehicles, not their own vehicles, and still providing this service to the community. It is about $15,500 a year. I mean, minimum wage is, it's amazing how much minimum wage adds up to. But that's what we're looking at in terms of ideally continuing this program. It's something that I know Sue has wanted to implement long before COVID, because we've always had that need of people that are housebound and they're not being able to get serviced, having food brought to them. So that's one discussion item, and I'll stop and hopefully be able to answer any questions you have, and then we'll move on to the kind of the next group of requests that the senior center is making.
Is there any possibility of tying in with the food bank and having them make the deliveries?
I've talked to Sue about tying in and with the food bank. They're still working on seeing what can happen with that. I'm not sure how our requirements overlap. We only deliver to Bonney Lake residents, so we won't deliver if they're outside our city limits right now.
Okay.
But it's definitely something that we are actively working on as well.
Yeah, I would think those people that need food be the same ones that want lunch. So if she's delivering food to them on a regular basis, you could drop off some meals to them, if not one there for a couple of days that way. Take care of it.
A lot of the food bank, though, aren't all seniors.
Right, but they are delivering to seniors, aren't you?
Yeah.
And right now, my understanding is we're not completely limited to just offering meals to seniors.
Oh, okay.
So
which
only
could get into a little bit of the problem with some people who could come and get a meal, choose not to, because why leave the couch if you get your meal delivered?
Right. So what about hiring part-time people to fill a position like that, 3 hours a day? Isn't that going to be a challenge anyway? I mean,
we think it will be less of a challenge than trying to find someone to do it for free, volunteers.
Maybe.
We will find out, though.
But,
yeah.
I mean, so at $15 an hour, $14.49.
We're hoping it's just another tool that we have that we can offer to try and get this, as opposed to just saying we can't do it and then we cut a service that really is needed.
Can a volunteer drive a city vehicle? I mean, I'm concerned about, you had a volunteer because gas is so expensive right now, and if they're seniors themselves not working, that'd be a challenge to make sure they can.
We already had a volunteer.
We have a volunteer driver. That volunteer driver is driving their own vehicle and putting in for a mileage reimbursement.
Well,
which is.
Yeah. Well, have we tried to get some more I mean, we get volunteers.
We're still working on trying to get volunteers for this.
I mean,
we're
I
just
got
hoping
2 requests
for another...
this week for Lions for Kids House. I mean, I get quite a few. They come on the website directly to me and are present stuff. So they are out there. I think
send them our way.
Well, I very possibly can, because they have some free time they want to help out. But we also need to tell the community that some of our seniors need home delivery. We're looking for volunteers, drive 1 or 5 days a week to deliver them some meals, and you'll be reimbursed for gas, something like that. I mean, I think
I get that, but I mean, just for the consistency of having, because the one day the volunteer says, I'm not going to, you've got
Right.
seniors not getting fed, or now the Sue's scrambling to try and offset that with some other means of transportation. And, it's not significant. Why the two drivers?
The miles that they drive, basically, she's separated, south of 410 is one driver, north of 410 is one driver, and it takes 3 hours to deliver both of them. Yeah. And the nice thing about consistency is you start learning your route, and if it's a
Right.
different volunteer every day, it's
They had that problem with the food bank too. People
yeah,
were doing
it just
route
takes
and-
longer and longer to deliver what you're trying to drop off.
I'm fine as long as whatever. If we can get some volunteers to fill in, that'd be nice too. But if not, it needs to be done.
I have a couple questions, and they're going to sound really cold, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. What's the mission of the senior center? What's their mission?
I couldn't tell you specifically.
Okay.
Yeah, my assumption would be that it's to provide support for the seniors in the Bonney Lake community.
Yeah.
That's completely generic and
Sure.
obvious, but
Yeah.
I could certainly see what they have as the mission statement.
I would just be curious in how this fits in with that. And then I would also be curious, regards, like, this started 2 years ago, right? When the pandemic started, essentially. And so the pandemic is essentially over. I think everybody was giving up on these things. And so my question would be, why can't we just go back to the way it was before then? So then they want to come and get a meal, no problem. But
We can. It was a program that Sue had hoped to start before.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you close down, it gave her a great opportunity to be able to start up a program.
right.
I understand what you're saying. I think what she would respond back is it was a need before the pandemic that we weren't able to fulfill because we didn't have the drivers or the ability to do it. And now that we've proven that there is a need, they want to continue it.
I have the mission statement here on the website.
Oh,
Okay.
I was just going to say the same thing.
You guys are all over it.
Yeah.
To affirm the dignity and self-worth of older adults by providing services and activities in an atmosphere that encourages and supports senior life to the fullest.
Very generic, yeah.
I know some seniors can't drive. Some seniors don't want to go out.
And I get that. I don't want to. I feel the plight. I think we also have to. Okay, is it the city's job to provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner for them at their house?
It's just lunch.
Oh, right, I know, but I'm being
Playing
generic
devil's
also, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just curious how that fits in there. What is our obligation? I'm not necessarily against it. I'm just kind of.
And I think Sue is going through who we deliver to and trying to really judge the need versus when it
Maybe it could
was
be
in the
pared down a
pandemic
little
and it
bit.
was either show up in line or we'll deliver. It was kind of a free for all.
Yeah.
So I think we'll be able to reduce the volume of deliveries to really, without getting too in depth and personal with everyone, but try and really figure out who really needs it and who just wants it.
That times
Well, to tag off of Terry's question, though, I would think they get some food from the food bank. If not, they should be. And if they are getting food from the food bank, why can't they just cook their own meals? They're cooking from there, and that's what if. Because they can get deliveries from the food bank for food to take care of them for nourishment. The only ones they should be able to, the ones that can't take care of themselves. And
I'm sure every situation is different.
right,
So
it's not getting too personal with
That's-
people too.
Yeah. That's all I have. Thank you.
So the second part of this is looking at the existing staff at the senior center. With us being open now, we really are exploding in terms of popularity or in terms of the use there. During the first quarter of 2021, now obviously we were closed during that time, but they provided 4,200 meals. They're going to be over 5,000 for the first quarter in 2022. So the more meals we're serving is drastically increasing. the extra volume adds just more time needed in the kitchen, dishwashing and kitchen staff to prepare, to clean up all these additional meals that we're providing. I have asked Sue to go through and figure out what they really need in terms of this increased volume. And it's not a large increase. The dishwasher currently is a part-time position. It's 15 hours a week. And he's leaving at the end of the day with a lot of dirty dishes still left to be done by the cook or other senior aides. Along with having to do, kitchen aides aren't just in the kitchen helping the cook, they're also out helping seniors, and they do a lot throughout the center. So this would be requesting his position to go from 15 hours per week to 24 hours a week. And the big kind of catch of this is it would become a DRS eligible position because of the hour threshold. So it's not just, you get more hours, there is a DRS component to that to keep in mind. The other is one of the KitchenAid positions is budgeted at halftime or 0.5 FTE. They were actually offered, and there is a slight typo, it wasn't 0.75, it's a 0.72. And that 0.72 is very strategic because it keeps us below the threshold for having to pay medical benefits. So in the budget, it's a 0.5. The position was offered at a 0.72, so we've got a discrepancy there. And we would like to make sure that our budget matches what we actually offered. So bring it up to a 0.72, not a 0.75, not doing benefits, but keep things accurate and how we have things done.
Yeah.
So why was it offered at a 0.72?
I can't speak as to why it was offered that way, but
The letter says you can work up to 15, which is equivalent to 0.72. And that's how, from what I've seen, the letters were drafted for quite some time. So if we do the 0.75, then it becomes eligible for medical under the, way back when, the old Obama EPACA. So that's where it get all that.
Whatever.
You think, Tom?
That's fine.
I mean, if the that's fine is the consensus.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll create an agenda bill. It'll still have to come back to you. You can talk about it, and then it will still go to council, and council can decide as a whole group whether it's going to be passed.
So that, almost 5 plus that and that. 4, 6, it's what, 6 or 7 full-time employees?
It's I think 5.8.
5.72 plus the 15 hours.
3, 4.
We have 5.38 authorized currently in the budget, plus 1 grant-funded position. And he's asking to increase it. It's actually 5.375 by a quarter almost. So it'd go up to about 5.6275 FTEs plus the grant-funded position.
And the food bank's doing.
And then the 2 drivers, if you approve them.
Right.
I believe so, yeah.
The drivers would also be another 0.375 each.
Is the grant position an ongoing grant, or is that a one-time grant?
Through December
It
20th.
ends. Yep.
Ready for the ARPA funds?
It's Pierce County.
Can we use ARPA funds for that though? The next couple of years?
For the drivers? Or?
Yeah. If we can, then I'd say go for it.
Sherry, can we use ARPA?
It's something that I think you could probably do. For the total FTE, it would put you at 6.39 without the grant-funded position. The problem's going to be, are you going to continue these positions after ARPA money?
Well, that's would be a discussion we should have. Right now, it looks like we need it, but in a couple of years or so, maybe we won't need it. Maybe things will balance out. Or maybe they could look for some volunteers that may want to do that. We got.
When was
You
the
ever
last
see
time
stuff
we
go
removed
away?
we
It never
removed it
goes
away?
away. Don't think it's bigger.
I know.
Well, I will say that the senior center used to have 3 aides, and it went down to 2, and Stu was able to get a 3rd aide back because that one's grant funded, so it's but the senior center did used to have 3 aides.
Did we remove the third one then?
And a
Did we
full-time
just-
assistant?
And a full-time assistant, yes.
Well, I mean, that's, as a senior myself, that generation that's growing, you may see more, but we have to address that too.
Yeah. And it's not just meals that they provide. They do a lot of events. And
I've served meals down there, helped out a lot. I know what all, it's a great, doing a great job down there. But they're very busy, plus with household needs and walkers and stuff like that. I mean, what do you think, Terry?
All right. I'm back and forth on it, honestly. I have a hard time adding FTEs because, like Justin always says, they kind of never go away, and they just become an ongoing drag on, not a drag, but it's part of the budget, and you have to accumulate for that. And if it's got to come from somewhere, and so you feel like you're taking from somewhere else that probably needs something in order to do that. So I have some other things I think probably be better used, the money could be better used for, but it's hard to.
I'd rather pay a grant writer full-time to cover Parks and Rec and this and that and build out and
Yeah.
trails and senior center and
Minimum wage, though?
Right.
So
I don't care what you pay.
I'm looking at the
But someone
FTE
that
chart.
can get us money.
Say that again.
They get
Sherry.
us
And I'm not-
for a trail to pay for the
Sorry.
bill. Go ahead.
At the FT, oh, I can't see you, sorry, because I'm on my other screen. Tell me when it's my turn.
Go
Your
ahead.
turn, go for it.
Okay, so I'm looking at the FTE chart, and we actually have not lowered any of the positions, Chuck. We actually increased in 2020 to include a dishwasher position, which we didn't have before. The interesting dynamic has been that we had a kitchen assistant, it was 0.7, a kitchen aide at 0.3, and then senior center aides / driver at 2.2. And Sue's kind of taken and massaged those positions, if you will. So some people are now 0.5 and 0.5, but it still equals the 1 FTE that is authorized. So the position authorization has not gone down. It actually increased in 2020 to include the dishwasher.
We'll have to, who can retire? They'll have a DRS retirement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there something that we can do to make this more palatable? I mean, is there something that you'd say, well, if you scratch one thing off, or because ideally, obviously, we would like extra help, obviously. But if as written isn't going to pass, then we certainly would like to know what might be a better solution to pass. In your minds.
Well, I would think we should try some volunteers first. We have enough volunteers come to food banks on a regular basis. I give them Lions Club all the time. I mean, we need to reach out there on Facebook or something to see the volunteers to help seniors in our community with their daily meals. Would you like to drive 1, 2, or 5 days a week? And see if you get anything from that at all, because there's a lot of people looking to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And then if that doesn't float, then we need to make a decision what we're going to do. A month or two. What do you think, Jen?
I'm just curious. I mean, I don't know. This is kind of outside the box. Like volunteer firefighters, they get paid a stipend per shift. Could we maybe look at doing something like paying volunteers for every time you come and volunteer? I mean, it kind of.
As a former volunteer firefighter, it was $9.
Oh, because well,
Per 12-hour shift.
I'm
It's kinda like
somewhere
jury
it's a
duty.
little
Yeah.
bit, it's a little bit, it's gone up a little.
With the volunteer liabilities for us. They're not being paid.
For volunteers. But I mean, if it's,
Yeah, and I know that we've had a few people that we've told them we're not delivering to you. Doors been, it's just been not
Yeah.
a safe environment, and I've given Sue complete control over. If it's not safe, I don't want Phil or I don't want a volunteer, anyone going by a house that they don't feel comfortable dropping off food with, because they knock on the door, they answer they wait for someone to answer the food over. Imagine there's some people that are,
They like to answer the door.
yeah. Even though they just ordered it that morning, they don't know who's at their door.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Um,
Well,
I don't know.
what would be the problem with just saying it's not part of the program anymore? I mean, and just don't do it. I mean, we didn't do it before. The new program we did because of what was going on. We need to get away from this now. You can get food from the food bank. Can't make deliveries. I just feel it's going to be like Justin and Terry said, it's going to be expensive in the future. We never planned on. I mean, the question of does Sumner, the outside group, do they do deliveries for food down there? I mean,
I'm not sure which food banks are still offering.
well, it's Sumner Senior Center.
Yeah.
And there's another outside.
I don't think they do.
Why would we do that then? Nice courtesy, helped out during what's going on.
Mhm.
But sorry, we can't deliver anymore, but the food bank will deliver you food. They got to eat anyway. So why should we deliver? I mean, that could be their only meal per day, but they could still get the same type of food. And it could be, they'll adjust it according to what they need from the food bank.
We can try that. I mean, I'd rather not, it's hard because we do have people who desperately need it and don't have any way, they don't have family, they don't have anyone
And they
to
can't
help.
drive.
Can't drive. But then you have people who certainly can drive and just want that,
Luxury.
a nice hot meal delivered to them. And it's hard to be able to ascertain over the phone, what they are until you start going out and delivering the meal. Cut it completely. I understand that we didn't do it before, but I think it was something that the senior center wanted to offer. But it's not, as it is now, we won't be able to continue offering what we're offering.
Yeah, Senior Center in Sumner does not do meals at all. The Senior Center remains closed for meals. They're paired up with the Catholic Community Services that provides meals for that area, but the Senior Center itself doesn't provide any meal in Sumner anymore, or not currently.
The volunteers, you're talking about if they get into an accident with pay going on, what are volunteers doing it right now?
So they pay L&I, but if they get in an accident into their vehicle on the cities, still their auto insurance.
Gotcha.
They could put in a claim, I'm assuming, whatever the damage was, saying that, hey, I was volunteering, I was driving,
Right.
but ultimately, initially, it's going to hit their insurance.
Right.
No different than if you were driving for the Scouts.
Right.
When you were doing it.
Yep.
There are churches that are doing deliveries of food right now.
I mean, there's also
I mean,
costs
volunteers.
associated with takeout stuff, the bags, the styrofoam, all of that is going to have to go into that cost as well. The to-go stuff versus just having a hot plate at the center.
I don't know
And
what
we do offer a to-go option, so people can come to the center, and if they don't want to, hang out and socialize, they can put a to-go plate together and leave, but that requires them getting to the center.
it is a great program to be able to offer that and have, here's the meal, you can't leave your house for whatever reason. I don't want to downplay that at all. I just wonder if we can't do it volunteers or something, like we reach out more to some other, the food bank, the Lions Club, whatever, to get some other volunteers that would be interested in doing.
I can bring up a
you know.
CFF my next meeting because there is a church, I'm not sure which one it is, but I pass late all the time in the mornings, not walking. I asked, what are you always doing? She said, I'm going to the seniors home, see if they need a meal today. Then she goes back and they go out and deliver the meals back out. They're in Bonney Lake right now. And I've never gone any further with the conversation with her, but that could be, she might be Scarlett from the community church down there.
You know, we already have 20% of our FTEs funded by a grant. I think there's probably really good opportunities for that, just how good of a program that is and is needed, you know.
Well, why can't we just try and hire someone, use ARPA funds for now, if Cheryl approved that? We can do that, see how it goes for time being and go from there. I mean, then we have to make a decision, either keep paying out of the city or cancel the whole program.
Because then you get the great opportunity to say, sorry, can't keep funding you. You don't have a job.
I'm
anymore.
trying to make you happy, Terry.
I know.
But
I'm
it
trying
is
to.
different if you're
It's a
working
sad
3 hours a day
story, yeah.
versus you being full-time.
True.
Right.
And not to discount people who work 3 hours a day.
Right. Why'd you look over there?
What do you want to do, Justin?
I think it's a great program. I see both sides. I'll support whatever the majority of you two.
Right in the middle. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, they can certainly be term limited, which I mean, if you're driving 3 hours a day, you're probably not looking for a career.
Right.
You know, you're looking just to.
You're just doing something during the day and hoping it'll help you.
Do that. Throw an Uber sticker on there and
Right.
make more than 14,
As long as,
15
as long as you have a new car.
I'm fine for now. We should readdress it in a reasonable length of time. I mean, it shouldn't be a permanent. Can we do that, John, or something? I mean, revisit this in another year or 2 years?
Well, I mean, we've
Put a
certainly
sunset
done
on it.
term
Yeah,
limited,
sunset, yeah.
our emergency management coordinator. I told all the applicants it's
I'm fine with that. We'll see how things are going then.
I do have a question. Chuck, you talked about having one car available and you needed a second. Are you asking for purchase of a vehicle?
No, no.
Chuck was going to let them use his city
Yeah.
vehicle.
Actually, Sadie's, the clerk's car will be commandeered.
You're not going anywhere for lunch.
He's leaving him,
Not
losing a
city
plate for
business.
Romania. Take that guy's car.
All I have to do.
Oh, okay, is that it? I checked my email. It wrote right off.
All right. Good with that
And
then?
make sure I get it right. You guys want to use ARPA funding, the term on it, on the hiring. Okay.
Yes.
And Chuck's bringing it back to fight.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe that's correct.
Well, I have a question. Now, what about Casey's presentation last week
412.
about next 3 years? Is that going to come forward to us again, or do we need to discuss it?
She
or
just
bring
sent
it
an
back?
email
Yeah.
out to you.
I saw that too. Yeah,
I mean, that's up to the council.
yeah. I talked to her this morning with some questions
312.
about it. And,
Okay.
yeah,
What did you
I
say?
didn't know we had. I didn't realize we had ARPA
12,
funds for
20.
another
Oh, okay.
few years.
Yeah.
She told me that. I
Hearing
didn't just didn't click. So can we use that money for the next 3 years and take care of that? Because I
Oh,
think we
okay.
should. Kind of come.
Is that a consensus of the finance committee to?
I wasn't listening.
I had talked to Stacy, the food bank, this morning
Uh,
about what her needs are and stuff. She sent an email this afternoon,
yeah.
which covers some of the questions I had. And I didn't realize we had ARPA funds for next 2-3 years. Is that?
I
I'd rather give her 200,000
Yeah.
and just not have her come to us again.
Well, that's fine.
I mean, that covers 3 or 4 years
Yeah,
for them.
because she only wanted 150 or what it was.
Yeah. The other is just
Yeah, here you go.
because I think, I mean, the ARPA funds, that is what it's truly meant for, in my opinion. That goes a long way, and I know we can't break it out over the years that she wants because ARPA has to be spent sooner than that, but that would, I mean, 150, 200, whatever. I would just prefer to lump sum it and let them if they have a capital investment or something easier to do what they need to, and then we're done our good deed and spent that money on something, I think, for the community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, certainly I can put an agenda bill forward, put an agenda bill together and bring that.
I'm fine with that. Terry's quiet over there.
I was wanting to see the ARPA money go towards fixing something with the water sewer rate type stuff and a capital project or whatever that would help ratepayers essentially in the future. And I feel like we are nickel and diming the ARPA fund as we go down here. Everything's like, well, can we do ARPA? Can we do ARPA? Can we do ARPA? And pretty soon ARPA is going to be gone, and we will be in the exact same position we were as far as water and sewer. So that's my concern.
So
I get Justin's thing is that I think that certainly with the food bank, it makes more sense as far as what ARPA maybe was originally for, as far as like their mission type statement.
I've talked to Sherry about this, and we can put all $6 million towards public work stuff, and it doesn't save our taxpayers a dime right now.
Right.
It does maybe
But
in
it
the
does,
future.
yeah, it at least keeps it from going up at this point, right?
Right, but the way I look at it is that's our responsibility no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem we needed to solve years ago. And yeah, we're flush with some money that might help save
For
some
now.
of that, but
Yeah.
I think using it for something that we wouldn't have to be responsible for, or we wouldn't have been able to do before, is, I'm fine spending $4 million or whatever on the public works side of things, but right now, as far as all I see our community gets is a $14,000 roof, and maybe some money for a food bank, maybe some money for some drivers, but that impacts a few seniors, a few people down on their luck with food, and some kids. But I don't see how. I don't see. I think the whole public works thing is BS that the federal government threw in there so that the cities could spend it wise or differently than what it was intended for. I think some senator said the only way I'll vote for this is got that in there, but I'd rather, and I see the long-term thing, but there also has to be some sort of tangible short-term satisfaction with that. Hey, we did something that you can see today with that or benefit from, or someone can benefit from.
Right. So
the money, the ARPA money has to be spent, and I was wrong when I talked to you initially, Justin. We could give them $50,000 in 22, $50,000 in 23, and $50,000 in 24 for the 150. I looked over, John sent me the email that Stacy sent so that I could kind of see what would qualify. And the rent utilities portion would qualify. So I think that's a legitimate. The capital gets into some iffy grounds on what I would have to track. So I really don't want to get into that. If we can tie it to something, it makes it easier for my reporting. So I really enjoyed her presentation where it showed she wanted 150 for utilities and rent. And that completely fits in with ARPA. And we could certainly do it 50,000 per year. The only reason I'm suggesting switching it back to 50,000 instead of the lump sum, we haven't gotten the second tranche of money yet. They tell me it's supposed to come next month, but I'm with the government, trust me. So that's kind of where I'm at. We have 2.9 million right now, and I want to make sure that we get the other 2.9 million before we start spending it all.
Checks in the mail. Yeah, I thought we had a shorter time span. So yeah, the 50 fine is fine. As long
I'm
as
fine with 50 for an agenda bill for that. For 3 years.
I did too, Justin. I was thinking it ended in 23, but it ends in 24.
Oh, okay. I only have a red pen. Can I borrow yours?
my impression from Stacy's presentation was that not just for a year or two, I think she wants this probably ongoing forever, right?
Oh, yeah. I'll be back in 25.
I'm sure, yeah.
Or now take care of the question, the issues, and see where we are then.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to argue against the food bank.
Surprise!
Consent agenda or?
Maybe a workshop?
Yeah, I think it should probably be Probably finance committee.
That's not gonna come back
They're
here,
going to want
though.
to, yeah, everybody's going to want to talk about it, I think.
And I mean, for me, that satisfies what, the intent. It's not so much the value of it, it's the effort that we put it in some places that are community based.
Yeah,
I get that. That makes sense.
well, it's helping so many, a variety of levels in our community,
Yeah.
not just people in real need.
All right. Anything else for the good of the order?
Nope.
Yes, we are adjourned.
Good job, everybody.
Thank you.